כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נהדר בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף אליך נורא תהילות אוסף
I will. All right, come on in, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. All right, so as everyone finds their seat, I just want to say something to the folks watching from home. We are glad that you are safe and sound, But God forbid there is ever any sort of storm warning, you all should know here that there's literally no safer place to be than Temple Israel, because this place is built like a fortress. I mean, really, it is not going anywhere. We have an actual bomb
Can I just say
shelter.
poo, poo, poo,
We
just in
have many
case?
rooms that feel like bomb shelters, so we are going to be fine. But just the same, just so that you're aware, we are going to be, somewhat expedient with our service this evening. Is that the right word?
Expedient?
That's not exactly
Brevity?
right, but yes, brevity.
Brevity.
Brevity is the key, just to make sure that
Alacrity.
we are doing the mitzvah
That
of
will
being
attend.
together for Shabbat and celebrating Purim, but also making sure that everyone feels safe and sound. So we are going to start tonight with a
This is
little.
more Purim music.
It is. It's kind of
Purim.
like, so we are going to start tonight. Where is my song? It disappeared. All right.
How about that, though? How about that? Hold on a second.
That's good. All right. So, bottom of page 11, Ki Eshmera Shabbat. We've been doing this one for a while. Some of you know it. Let's go with it. But I'm going to challenge everyone who knows it. Sing along with this, because it is a goodie. Nothing to do with that.
Purim.
Ki Eshmera Shabbat El Yishmereni. Ki Eshmera Shabbat El Yishmereni. Oti Le'yom Eyad Beino Ubeini. Oti Le'yom Eyad Beino Ubeini. Ki Eshmera Shabbat El Yishmereni. Ki Eshmera Shabbat El Yishmereni. Beautiful. So, on this fabulous Purim weekend, we are not just celebrating Purim, but we also are celebrating the fact that Milo London, who has the most awesome suit ever, I literally didn't notice until just now, Milo London is becoming bar mitzvah. And so, in anticipation of that fabulous event tomorrow, it is my pleasure to invite up Edina Canner, Leslie London, Yoni London, and Mary Pullman, who are going to help us with our candlelighting and kiddush and motzi. And those can be found starting on page 2. And Milo and Gavi as well, so you guys can see the awesome suit. All right, so it's really just, you just press that button, yeah? Yes. Yes. Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, Ritzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Beautiful. If whoever's doing Kiddush wants to raise the glass. Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen. Right. Yeah. It's Purim, you're actually supposed to drink something. Yes. All right, Milo, you want to uncover the challah for us? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. All right, if anyone wants to take a bite of the challah, we can make it official. Gavi, they're pointing at you, buddy. That's it? Great.
Yeah.
Perfect. Nicely done, my friends. Thank you so much.
Until tomorrow.
So our tradition tells us that every time we celebrate Shabbat together, it is as if we're welcoming the angels in, and tonight it certainly feels like we're welcoming something magical into our midst. And so on page 24, we sing Shalom Aleichem, welcoming those Shabbat angels into our presence to make this day just a little bit holier than the rest of the week. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Ani L'Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seidchem L'Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And so I invite you now to rise as we call each other to worship on page 28 with the words of the Baruch Hu. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. On page 31 at the bottom, we read together, "This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim." And we join in the watchword of our people, the words of the Shema on page 34. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed. Please be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol lebavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha. V'hayu hadvarim ha'elem asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbacha uv'kumecha וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לתותפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before we ever stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go it is eternally Egypt, that there's a better place, a promised land, but the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together.
And we sing the song that our ancestors sang as they crossed from slavery to freedom on page 40, Mi Chamocha. Mi Chamocha, Bailim Adonai, Mi Chamocha, Nedor Bakodesh, Norah Tilot, Oseh Feleh, Norah Tilot, Oseh Feleh, Mi Chamocha, Bailim Adonai, Mi Chamocha, Nedor Bakodesh. We sing Mi Chamocha, thanking God for our freedom, but so too we offer God this extra prayer, just asking for God to spread a shelter of peace over all of us, wherever our freedom may take us. And those words are on page 42 with Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from harmful things. Guard us from all harmful things. O Adonai, keep us safe. Keep us safe throughout the night till we wake. Till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. So I'll ask you now, if you will, to please rise, and we'll join together in words of tefillah on page 46. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. Please be seated. We're going to join now on page 61 at the top to offer a prayer in English. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamborech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. So every time that we come to Purim in our calendar, we have this bit of a struggle here at Temple Israel, because on the one hand, Purim is supposed to be this time of fun and rejoicing, but we also recognize that sometimes, even because it's a time of fun and rejoicing, that we may be here because we are sad. We may be here because we are honoring a loss. We may be here because there is someone in our lives who is in need of healing, and we just want to pray for them. So our tradition here has become that we have multiple Purim celebrations. Many of you were here this past Sunday when we had our spiel and we had our Purim carnival. And then tonight, it does feel a little bit more weird and somber and spooky because of the creaking. Don't worry, it's normal.
It's all part of the atmosphere.
It's supposed to happen.
Really.
But
We paid for that.
even though we will read our Megillah a little bit later, we also want to make sure that we are honoring those who are watching from home and those who are here because there is someone that they're praying for. So this time we're going to turn in our Sidurim to page 253. Taking a moment now to think of those who may be in our circles of family or friends who are in need of some healing prayers. So if there is someone who you're thinking of who you think would appreciate knowing that their names were shared here, I would invite you to say them at this time. So we're thinking too tonight of Eric Ash and Carl Greenberg, of Nathan Levinson and Drew Patchen. We're thinking of Joanne Phillips and Marilyn Schlitter, of Kennedy Smith and Harriet Snyder and Lacey Weinstein. So thinking of each of them and all those names that we're saying to ourselves, we offer this healing prayer and hope that healing comes their way. Sorry. Nishaberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, oh bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha lavo refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Oh, say shalom, bimromav, oh, ya'aseh shalom, aleinu. Ve'yakol Yisrael, ve'imeru, amen. Oh, say shalom bimromav, oh, ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ve'yakol Yisrael, ve'imeru, amen. Oh, say shalom bimromav, oh, ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ve'yakol Yisrael, ve'imeru, amen. And now for something completely different. So, on Purim, there are different mitzvot. There are different mitzvahs, different commandments that we have. And one of them is that we are supposed to hear the story of Purim, the book of Esther. And there are different ways to do it. As I mentioned this past Sunday, we had a Purim spiel. That's like a play form of the book of Esther. But the other traditional way is to actually read from the Megillah, the scroll. And we have here tonight our Megillah, which is pretty amazing. I do not remember how old it is, but it is quite old.
It's also the whole Megillah.
It is the whole Megillah. If you're wondering where that's from, this is actually it. It is the whole Megillah. It is super cool. It is also extremely fragile. So we are not going to actually read from the whole thing tonight, but you can see part of what makes it a Megillah. Megillah means scroll. So unlike our Torah scrolls, which are scrolled on both sides, this Megillah, theoretically, you could just open the entire thing and read it that way. We are not going to do that because it is so precious and we want to keep it safe, but also because we want to make sure that you all understand the scroll that we are reading. And so what we've done tonight is we have prepared for you an abridged Megillah that has all of the highlights. And so in a few moments, we're going to do that. But I realize we have some guests here tonight. We have some of our guests who are here from Concord Trinity United Methodist Church. And we also have other people who have simply never celebrated Purim before. So you may not know the story and what you are supposed to do. We're not going to tell you the story yet. You'll have to actually hear that. There are a few parts where you have to do something. So Haman is the villain in the story. So when we hear Haman's name, you have to boo. So let me practice here. Haman. Excellent. Nicely done. Okay. Also, I personally feel that Esther always needs a shout out. So when we say Esther's name, if you know how to whistle, a whistle would be appropriate. Like I don't know how to whistle. So like, woohoo! But like a whistle of what I just did. Can you do?
That sounds more like a Vashti whistle than a...
Well,
Okay.
Would you have a better one?
Sounds rabbinic.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Woohoo.
That's good. Okay, woohoo. Woohoo is what we're going to do for her.
Woohoo.
So when we do our blessings, so the blessings and the Megillah are here if you want to follow along with it. I did realize, as I was talking to Michelle a little bit earlier, that it is very small. I, too, cannot read the Hebrew on that. So we are going to be doing the English of it because the Hebrew is too small for my eyes to read. My bad. Sorry about that. Anyway, but those of you who are studying Hebrew with Rabbi Michael, you can go home. Grayson has young eyes, but everyone else who's studying Hebrew with Rabbi Michael can go home with your magnifying glass and you can read along. But first we have to do our blessings. And for the blessings, it is traditional to rise. So if you all will please rise. And rather than chant them, we are going to say them because there is actually a tune, but we're just going to say it tonight so we can all be in this together. So, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu Al Mikra Megillah. Blessed are you, eternal our God, ruler of the universe, who has sanctified us with his commandments and commanded us concerning the reading of the Megillah. Second blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa nisim lavotenu, bayamim hahem bazman hazeh. Blessed are you, eternal our God, ruler of the universe, who performed miracles for our ancestors in those days at this season. That one should be familiar. We also do that one on Hanukkah. And then the last one we only do on first, so this is our first time doing this. You also would know this from Hanukkah, the first night. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'hegianu lazman hazeh. Blessed are you, eternal our God, ruler of the universe, who has granted us life, sustained us, and enabled us to reach this season. Please be seated. So if I can invite our first Purim reader, Ella, I believe that's you, my friend, to come on up.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Joe, should we start it?
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, I earned this reading because my middle name, Esther. Needed. On seventh day of party, when the king was married with wine, he ordered the 7 eunuchs in attendance of King Ahasuerus to bring Queen Vashti before the king, wearing a royal diadem, to display her beauty to the people and the officials, for she was a beautiful woman. But Queen Vashti refused to come, and the king was mad.
Oh, wait, there's more. Keep going.
Oh, you told me just this.
Do you want to do more?
Of course. Okay. If it please your majesty, let a royal edict be issued by you, and let it be written into the law of Persia and Media, so that it cannot be abrogated. And Vashti shall never enter the presence of King Ahasuerus. And let your majesty bestow her royal state upon another who is more worthy of that she.
Beautiful. Nicely done.
And let the maiden who pleases your majesty be queen instead of Vashti. The proposal pleased the king, and he acted upon it. In the fortress Shushan lived a Jew by the name of Mordecai.
Oh, we need
we
something
didn't
for
tell
him.
you.
How about a cheer for him?
Yay.
Woohoo!
It's kind of important.
Yeah.
He was foster father to Hadassah, that is, Esther,
Woohoo!
his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother. The maiden was shapely and beautiful, and when her father and mother died, Mordecai adopted her as his own daughter. The girl pleased him and won his favor. Esther did not reveal her people. Esther did not reveal her people or her kindred, for Mordecai had told her,
You guys are good.
not to reveal it. The king loved Esther
Woohoo!
more than all the other women, and she won his grace and favor more than all the ladies in the land. She set a royal diadem on her head and made her queen instead of Vashti.
This is not a PG
Yeah,
story,
who
I'm just saying.
Oh, you gewalt.
When Mordecai was sitting in the palace gate, 2 of the king's eunuchs who guarded the threshold, Bigthan and Teresh, became angry and plotted to do away with King Ahasuerus. Did I do that?
Yay.
That's good.
That was very good.
Debbie said sneeze. Ahasuerus. Mordecai learned of it and told it to Queen Esther. And Esther, reported it to the king in Mordecai's name.
Yay.
The matter was investigated and found to be so, and the 2 were impaled on stakes.
Ouch.
This was recorded in the book of Annals at the insistence of the king.
Beautiful. Nicely done, my friend.
Sometime afterward, King Ahasuerus promoted Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agagite. He advanced him and seated him higher than any of his fellow officials. All the king's courtiers in the palace gate knelt and bowed low to Haman. For such was the king's order concerning him. But Mordecai would not kneel or bow low. Haman was filled with rage. So Haman plotted to do away with all the Jews. Mordecai's people throughout the kingdom of Ahasuerus Mordecai gave Esther's servant the written text of the decree for the destruction of the Jews to show Esther and inform her and my bad, and charged her to go to the king and to appeal to him and to plead with him for her people.
All right, now this part is my favorite. I'm going to see it because my eyes are really bad, but you should at least hear it in Hebrew. Vayomer Mordechai lahashiv el Esther el tzedami b'nafshecha lehima leit beit hamelech mikol hayehudim ki im hacharish tacharishi ba'et hazot reva v'hatzala ya'amod liyehudim mimakom acher. Mordechai said, "Do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone of all the Jews will escape. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will come from another place, makom acher. But you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" Then Esther responded, "I shall go to the king, and if I am to perish, I shall perish."
As soon as the king saw Queen Esther standing in the court, she won his favor. "If it please your majesty," Esther said, "let your majesty and Haman come today to the feast that I have prepared." So the king and Haman came to the feast that Esther had prepared.
It's like being heckled.
The king asked Esther at the wine feast, "What is your wish, Queen Esther?" "It shall be granted you, and what is your request?" Even to half the kingdom, it shall be fulfilled." Queen Esther replied, "If your majesty will do me the favor, and if it pleases your majesty, let my life be granted me as my wish, and my people as my request. For we have been sold, my people and I, to be destroyed, massacred, and exterminated."
Thereupon King Ahasuerus demanded of Queen Esther, "Who is he and where is he who dared to do this?" "The adversary and enemy," replied Esther, "is this evil Haman." And Haman cringed in terror before the king and the queen. What is more at stake is standing at Haman's house, 50 cubits high, which Haman made for Mordecai, the man whose words saved the king. "Impale him on it," the king ordered. So they impaled Haman on the stake which he had put up for Mordecai, and the king's fury abated.
Letters were dispatched by mounted couriers, riding steeds used in the king's service, bred of the royal stud, to this effect: "The king has permitted the Jews of every city to assemble and fight for their lives." And in every province and in every city, when the king's command and decree arrived, there was gladness and joy among the Jews, a feast and a holiday. And many of the people of the land professed to be Jews, for the fear of the Jews had fallen upon them.
And so, on the 13th day of the 12th month, that is the month of Adar, when the king's command and decree were to be executed, the very day on which the enemies of the Jews had expected to get them in their power, the opposite happened, and the Jews got their enemies in their power. Consequently, these days are recalled and observed in every generation, by every family, every province, and every city. And these days of Purim shall never cease among the Jews, and the memory of them shall never perish among their descendants.
So there are so many different messages that we can take from the Purim story. The truth is, as Rabbi Michael was saying last week at services, it is not really a story for kids. But the idea that for me is so meaningful. Some years it's the idea that that a nobody from nowhere with nothing to her name could be the one to save the people just because she had courage. And sometimes the message that speaks to me about Purim is the fact that what is really so magical about this story is the idea that throughout all of this, that the Jews retain their Jewishness. But I will say that of all the messages of Purim in this particular year, the one that strikes me as the most powerful is the one that is found in the blessing that we say after we read the Megillah. So I'll ask you now, if you will, to please rise, and we're going to read that blessing together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, harav et rivenu, hadan et dinenu, hanokem et nikmatenu, hanifra lanu mitzarenu, hamishalem gemul lechol oyevei nafshenu. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hanifra la'amo Yisrael mikol tzarehem, ha'el haMoshiach. Blessed are you, eternal our God, ruler of the universe, who fights our battles, judges our cases, avenges our grievances, who fully repays all those enemies of our souls, and who brings us out of our suffering. Blessed are you, eternal, who delivers his people Israel from all who oppress them, the God who redeems. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May this all be true. And so I'll ask you now, if you will, to open up your Sidurim one more time, and we are going to turn to page 282 for the Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'artzot, velo samanu כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שמחקינו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. And on page 287, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. So even though we are here, so many of us, for this time of joy, we are thinking too of those who we have lost, and we are called especially with love, the name of one taken from us in recent days, and our hearts go out to his family in sympathy as we recall his name, Bill Alvernia. And we now recall the names of those, the anniversary of whose death occurs on this Shabbat, and whose names have been inscribed in the archives of our congregation or on the wall of honor for perpetual memorial. J. Arthur Baer II, Nathan Smiley Bender, Bessie Bernhardt, Belle Blau, Michael Blumenfeld, Rose Bolger, Rachel Cohn, Samuel R. Cohn, Lillian Dern, Abraham Edison, Ronald Fenster, Carolyn Elaine Finkelstein, Alberta Fisher, Sally Friedman, Isidore Fry, Albert Gelber, Miriam Londi Goldman, Harry Greenberg, Francis Guggenheim, Frida Halpern, Sadie Herman, Sarah Shire Hirsch, Sidney Jacobson, Ralph Kalish Sr., Raymond Cohn, Nathan Lending, Mildred Levy, Samuel Ludwig, Joseph Mayer, Ida Meyer, Fred Mischau, Stanley Mitleiter, Morris Neuberger, Ida Steller Nieberg, Ethel Orchard, Ida Rosenblatt, Henry Rawson, Louis Rothgieser, Maureen Rubin, Harold Sandmel, Bertie Medali Sanowski, Esther Perlman Shapiro, Sam Schechter, Mildred Schwartz, Maurice Centuria, Rosetta Siegfried, Charles Silverman, Catherine Silverman, Jack Smith, Dave Solomon, Marcus Solomon, Lena Meyer Steinberg, Bonnie Ellen Stoyer, Helen Mannheimer Tucholsky, Bill Wallace, Rose Wax, Alan Lee Weilitz, Clara Westheimer, Abraham Wolf, and Sander Bernard Zwick. So with these names and the names that we keep in our hearts, we turn together to the words of the Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Yitzgadal v'yitzkadash shemei Rabbah. Ba'alma divarach hirute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayachon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kari v'emru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mavarach la'alam omei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei dekudesha barichu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata ta'amiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And we say, Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru. Amen. So we are going to do one final song. I do just want to add before we conclude tonight that if the folks from Concord Trinity want to stay in here, then we are going to do a little tour. But first, we are going to do our final song on page 336. This is a song that we actually traditionally sing on Havdalah when we're looking forward to a bright new week ahead, but it actually comes from the book of Esther. Okay. Yeah. La Yehudim haytza'ora v'simcha v'sason v'ikar. One more time. La Yehudim haytza'ora v'sason v'ikar. Next words are Tie Lanu. You find your lives are filled with joy and gladness and also with safety and not too much wind. So for those of you who are going to dinner, enjoy your dinner. Don't worry, again, safest place you can be, Temple Israel. And for everyone else, drive home safely.
And happy Purim.